It was another successful State of Education luncheon at the Wedgwood Banquet Center, hosted by the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce. Pittsburgh Unified School District board members, city dignitaries, and other government officials came together to hear what is currently going on in our state education. The extremely informative speakers included Contra Costa County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Joseph Ovick, Interim President of Los Medanos College, Richard Livingston, and Pittsburgh Unified School District Superintendent Linda Rondo. Contra Costa County Superintendent Joseph Ovick spoke about the school-wide budget status and what the future holds for our children. LMC Interim President Livingston spoke about how the state's budget will affect Los Medanos College, as well as other California community colleges. Pittsburgh Unified School District Superintendent Rondo gave a detailed update on Pittsburgh Unified School District, including the new projects happening in the future. Attendees enjoyed a delicious lunch provided by Wedgwood Banquet Center. Pittsburgh, State of Education, a positive road with a community that cares.
Welcome to our annual State of Education Luncheon. And I will have our MC come up in a couple minutes. Your salad will be out next.
I want to welcome you to this year's Chamber of Commerce State of the Education Luncheon for January 2011. The State of Education is sponsored by the Chamber's President's Club sponsors and President's Club partners, without whom we would not have this luncheon today. The sponsors are the City of Pittsburgh, GWF Power Systems LP, USS Pasco Industries, Keller Canyon Landfill Company, Genon, Pittsburgh Disposal Service, Sutter Delta Medical Center, Tesoro Refining and Marketing Company, Mechanics Bank, Fresenius Medical Care, and Belleci Designs. Partners are Dow Chemical and Raymar Foods International. Do enjoy your lunch, but before you do, I'm going to announce a few dignitaries that are present. And when I mention the name, just stand up briefly and wave, and we'll go on to the next person. Satinder Mali with Mark Desaulnier's office. Richard Asadorian, who is Contra Costa Community College Board District 4 trustee. Mark Grisham, Pittsburgh City Manager. Ben Johnson, City Council Member. George Miller, Pittsburgh School District Board Member. Willie Wong, Pittsburgh School Board Member. And Bobby Galicki, Pittsburgh School Member. Dan DePiero, Harbor Master for Pittsburgh.
And then introduce yourself. Oh, Laura's here.
Oh, Laura Cansamilia.
She's also school board.
Who's school board? And I'm Martha Gorelka, your MC today. I'm with the League of Women Voters of Diablo Valley. And I've done several Pittsburgh candidates forums. In fact, when Laura was running for school board, I skipped her once, and all of the other candidates said, hey, wait a minute. She was very gracious. So. Before we do, I want to welcome Suzette Atkins with Susan Bonillo's office, who's here today. And Joe Obeck very graciously told me, oh, you know, Richard Asadorian is not with the County Board of Education. He's on my board, so I apologize for the error. Our first speaker is Dr. Joseph Obeck. He's our Contra Costa County Superintendent of Schools. He serves as CEO of the Contra Costa County Office of Education, an agency that provides a wide array of educational programs for students and staff in the county's 18 school districts. Dr. Ovick's career as an educator spans more than 30 years. He began as a special education teacher in Santa Clara County, and now as county superintendent continues to maintain direct contact with students through regular classroom visits and community involvement. Welcome, Dr. Ovick.
Hello, everyone. Richard Asadorian, member of the County Board of Education. Good to see you here.
Thank you. I feel honored to be introduced 3 times.
It's like going to court, you know? Well, it's always nice to be in Pittsburgh. As you know, my wife, Ellen Ovick, who passed away a few years ago, spent 12 years in the district as a teacher at Hillview and at Pittsburg High. So we have a special place in our heart for this community. And even though she's gone, I feel very much, the Ovick family feels very much a part of this community. It reminds me of a community that I grew up in. Actually, when I was a little kid, they called it Goose Town. It was a portion of San Jose where all Italians lived. And I, as a little kid, I thought everyone was Italian. It's always nice to be here. It's one of the communities that always extends a hand and says you're welcome, regardless of who you are, your place at that time in your life. And you have a lot to be proud of here in Pittsburgh. And I mean that sincerely. Let me talk a little bit, because I was asked to, just about the budget, where we are with the state budget. And then I want to brag about our kids here in Contra Costa County. Governor Brown is proposing $12.5 billion in cuts, which come from other areas of the budget other than K-12, K-14 education. He's proposing $1.7 billion in limiting Medi-Cal services, $1.5 billion in establishing time limits for reducing CalWORKs opportunities, the CalWORKs program for kids, $1 billion in reductions to the University of California and the CSU, all the campuses throughout the state, $750 million from the Department of Developmental Services, $750 million in child care, $486 million by reducing hours of in-home supportive care, $308 million in reduced take-home pay for state employees without contracts, and $300 million net from community colleges. So I have to backtrack what I said earlier, K-14. It's actually K-12 that at this point in time, he is not going to reduce any further than the $17 billion reduction we've encountered in the last 2.5 years in K-12 education. In addition to that, if you look at the budget very carefully for K-12 education, every child generates what we call revenue limit, based on average daily attendance. And there will be a continued reduction of about 20% per ADA, basically per child, in K-12 education. So we are still going to get hit with about $1.2 billion. And then there's talk now of an additional deferral in payments. Right now, we're looking at about 10 deferrals that haven't been paid up yet. And it's another $10 billion shortfall that we're still waiting to receive. So to put that in proper perspective, K-12 education in Contra Costa County costs about $1 billion. So if you look at the $17 billion that we've lost thus far in the last 2.5 years, plus the $10 billion, potential $10 billion with the deferrals, it's $27 billion times about 162,000 kids that we have in Contra Costa. So if you take 160,000 children, multiply that times 27, that gives you an idea of how many children in terms of dollars we would have had in the state of California to serve our young people, K-12 education, that we no longer have. They suspended Proposition 98, and if you recall, the folks in California voted overwhelmingly to protect funding for our kids, not for our schools, but for our kids. Yes, the money goes to the schools, but it goes to the schools for our children. And that has been suspended so that they don't have to commit to those dollars that you guaranteed as voters. But it'll go on the books as money that they owe us. And we're not sure, I'm 63 years old. Quite honestly, I'm not sure we'll see that money before I leave this earth, although I'm planning on staying around for at least 25 years. There's a lot to do for our kids, not necessarily as county superintendent, but I'll continue to advocate for children after my new term that I just began ends in 4 years. So basically that's what the state budget looks like right now, and the way that it's going to affect us, what the governor is assuming is that the voters in 2011-12 proposed level of funding assumes that the voters will agree to extend the temporary tax measures. So we'll see what happens. Right now, our children in California and in Contra Costa County are on a collision course with the future. We know that the future economy is, even today's economy, is knowledge-based. And right now, the services, the opportunities we're able to provide our young people, very different than the services I received when I was a kid here in California, growing up near Campbell and a product of the Campbell Union High School District. We had counselors, we had librarians, we had after-school programs, we had social clubs, we had summer programs at the high school that parents knew we were safe because we were at school. School was a safe place to be. It was a community center that basically was open 7 days a week throughout the year. The hours may be abbreviated during the summer, but the schools were open, the libraries were open. We don't have that today for our young people. And we know that our knowledge base in the world doubles every 72 hours. So currently, California, we rank the lowest in the number. We have the largest class sizes in the state, in the United States. We have the shortest school year of all 50 states. We rank 50th in the number of librarians we have, counselors we have, school principals to children, and district administrators to children. And we're 51st, we're 51st in the nation when it comes to libraries and counselors. And you're saying, well, wait, there are 50 states. How can that be? District of Columbia has more resources for their children than we have here in California. What we had as kids, and many of you can identify with this, we had a little satellite that went up from the Soviet Union called Sputnik. And we found ourselves in accelerated math programs, science programs, as middle school kids and high school kids. We don't need another Sputnik. We should have the mindset in this country to focus on our future, because especially as members of the chamber, you guys, we all need an educated workforce. And we know that not every youngster needs a baccalaureate degree, but every youngster today will need lifelong learning because of the rapidity of change in our society. We know today that a youngster born, a baby born today, will probably live 120 years. So the life we're preparing our children for is a very different life than we've lived. Alvin Toffler, when he talked about the rapidity of change, little did he know how rapid change would occur. And we really owe it to our kids to provide the educational services and opportunities that we had as young people. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, if I can speak a little bit about the politics of the extended taxes just for a moment. Right now, what we're looking for in the House, the Senate, and the Assembly are 2 votes from the Republicans to move the tax proposal initiative to the ballot. And we do know that the Republicans, all but 2, have taken a sworn oath that they will not increase taxes. To move this initiative forward doesn't violate that oath, because they're not saying that the taxes will occur. What they're saying is the citizens of California, the registered voters, will make that decision. So a lot is going to happen between now and the end of June as it relates to preparing for the election, if indeed it gets to the ballot, and then the aftermath as a result of the election itself. So the 18 school districts in Contra Costa County, and I'll speak for Richard if I may, the community college and the County Office of Education will basically be building perhaps 2 or 3 different budgets for the coming school year, because we don't know. We don't know if what I just shared with you, the 20% reduction that we know of today will occur. Will it be greater than that? Will it be less than that? And yet we're obligated by law to have a budget approved by your local school boards or the community college board or the county board of education by June 30th. My hunch is if indeed the election occurs, if indeed the extension of taxes continues for 5 more years, all the school districts, including the community college and the county board of education, the county office of education, will have to go back to public hearings and approve otherwise a different budget. So it's in the hands of all of you. It's in my hands as a voter, and hopefully we'll do what's right for our kids.